So, it falls to me, as the newly elected president of this fine body, the ECU, to close what has been an exceptionally stimulating and enjoyable convention. From the excitement of glimpses into our future in the plenary sessions, to the insights shared by the workshop presenters, to the fabulous social evenings, it has been a memorable experience. To all those who have worked so hard to make all this happen, thank you. We appreciate what you do, and please, this is the time to give them a round of well-deserved applause. I take up the presidency with similar feelings to when I started out as a new student at the IECC back in 1994. On that first day, there was a full class of fresh-faced youngsters crossing the threshold into a new world of promise and really hard work. Right from the outset, we were encouraged to think of ourselves not as students, but as members in training of a special healthcare profession. A relatively young profession, but one with a glittering future. I still feel that sense of excitement and frankly trepidation about living up to the standards of the giants on whose shoulders we stand. Without them, our view would be restricted and our reach curtailed. Thanks to them, we can aspire to even greater things. At 14 years of age, I became a professional water polo player. It's a rough sport, and here in Hungary, we are in the land of the world champions. 7 years into my career, I was injured quite seriously by dislocating my left shoulder 7 times in one sporting season. One of those 7 dislocations actually happened in a swimming pool not far from here, during the qualifying round of the 1993 Champions League. You can safely say that the inadequate package of care I received, mainly intra and periarticular injections, and eventually surgery, led me to an extremely early sports retirement and a decision to become a chiropractor, a decision that I have never for one moment regretted. As a Greek, I got a particular thrill when a couple of my athlete patients made it to the Olympic Games. But frankly, I get as much of a thrill when a grandmother says that she's now more able to play with a granddaughter because of the care she had, or when a father can take his son to a football match because he doesn't suffer from low back pain as he used to suffer before. And yet, I wonder why chiropractic care is still something of a secret. There are more physiotherapists in Greece than chiropractors in Europe. There are more physiotherapists in Germany than chiropractors in the whole world. How can we get more young people to choose chiropractic as a career? Why do we still have countries without the regulation that legally underpins patient safety? Why have we not been more successful in lobbying politicians, administrators, and the public for wider recognition? Can it be that we're such a threat to the established medical order? Ladies and gentlemen, we must double and redouble our efforts to grow the profession and to grow its influence. And that means everyone in this room and every one of our colleagues that we can recruit to this cause. My talk is billed as Engines Full Ahead. I went to the bookstore and got hold of a copy of the Engine's Driver's Manual. Here's the cover. How significant that the manual is about the aristocrats of engine driving, steam locomotives. But also, how significant that romantic and nostalgic as this may be, this aristocracy did not last when the diesel and electric revolution came to the railways. And so it is with us. We must adapt, adopt, and invest in order to thrive. We must adapt. We must adapt our public stance to the concerns of the day. Right now, we are hearing a great deal about an opioid epidemic and the disabling prevalence of lower back pain. Its effects can be tragic and shocking. Every day, more than 115 people in the United States die after overdosing on opioids. The misuse of and addiction to opioids, including prescription pain relievers, heroin, and synthetic opioids such as fentanyl, is a serious national crisis that affects public health, as well as social and economic welfare. And that is the United States National Institute on Drug Abuse writing in March this year. Now, thank God, strong opiates are tightly controlled in Europe. But several EU countries allow over-the-counter sales of a milder pain medication, codeine. While less dangerous than heroin or fentanyl, codeine is turned into morphine in the liver and can still be toxic in high doses. Over the past 10 years, global demand for codeine has risen 27%, according to the EU Commission. Maybe most of opioid use has nothing to do with the musculoskeletal problems we encounter. But, as the groundbreaking articles in The Lancet late in March showed, research papers on low back pain by our own Jan Harkison, Alice Gongsted, and others point to a game-changing opportunity to deal effectively with the #1 cause of disability worldwide. Non-invasive treatment by highly trained manual therapists, such as chiropractors, reduces the load on overworked general practitioners and combats the opioid epidemic. It is highly encouraging to see so many national associations around the world taking up the challenge to reduce the dependence on opioids in their jurisdictions. I pay tribute to them. We must adopt a clear and unequivocal public stance in favor of evidence. And that means research, research, research. The ECU now invests 25% of its income in research through the ECCRE, its research arm, including support for the development of young researchers through the CARL program. And that is not all. An increasing number of national associations have set up their own research councils, which are financing important projects. Other than the remarkable work undertaken at the NAKKB, the Danish Research Council, Norway, for instance, has recently appointed Dr. Iben Axen from the Karolinska Institute to head its research council. Belgium and Ireland recently started research councils of their own. The Netherlands has set up a research network to help researchers connect with clinics and establish good links for obtaining data. One of the challenges to our profession, especially where it is not embedded into the national health services, is how researchers can obtain original data about chiropractic care. I would like to see practicing clinicians with strong links to their national research councils providing research data in a responsible manner. Above all, we must invest. We must invest in growth. Over the past 10 years, the total number of chiropractors in the ECU has grown from 3,400 to 4,500. That 25% growth, reflective for the entire profession in Europe, could easily be perceived as not bad. But as one financial request the ECU set out last November, in Canada, there is one chiropractor for 4,000 of population, with a comparative figure for the whole of Europe of 114,000. In some large countries in Europe, chiropractic is woefully inadequate available. Norway and Denmark are doing better, being 8 and 9,000 respectively. The UK has 1 chiropractor for every 22,000. To reach the coverage in Canada, the UK would need an extra 14,000 chiropractors. At current levels of growth, that will take 175 years. Some existing schools have ambitious plans. The University of South Wales, which is where the Welsh Institute of Chiropractic is situated, is looking to double the number of its students. London South Bank University will open its doors to chiropractic students for the academic year 18-19. And there are discussions afoot to establish a new school in a shared medical university in the north of England. In my own Athens, we are hopeful that the Metropolitan College, in close collaboration with the Hellenic Chiropractors Association, will shortly introduce a chiropractic course. In Norway, there is at long last a mounting campaign for a chiropractic school, possibly in Bergen. In Ireland and in the Netherlands and Belgium, talks are beginning about new schools. Henceforth, the European Academy of Chiropractic, ECU's academic arm, will be focusing on a drive to radically increase the throughput of chiropractic students, whether by new institutions, new models of teaching, or new sources of students. With growth, of course, comes a bigger risk of differentiation or fragmentation. Let me be very clear on this. Our diversity is our wealth. That is why we should protect it by being intolerant to the very limited but highly hazardous, unethical, or dangerous extremist behavior that hurts this profession. We should condemn it in a specific and targeted way. While doing so, we need also to recognize that in an autonomous profession, we will never all agree completely on each and every issue. Unity is not a destination we can aspire to reach. It is rather a direction towards which we should constantly move, as long as it doesn't hinder the advancement of the profession. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, by attending this convention, you have shown that you are willing to invest in your own professionalism. You will, I hope, each take away something that you can explain to colleagues who did not come. As I'm ever so glad that I went to the ECU Convention in Budapest, because for me, that was Greg Kautschuk's and Jan Hardikson's presentation during the last 2 days. A wonderful insight into a possible future. But I would also like you to accept this challenge. Though the ECU officers and the officers of your national associations will represent you vigorously and persuasively, you are the ECU. You are members of the most long-standing international association in our profession. You are the future. Your actions will determine how healthy this profession will be in 10 or 20 years' time. So, as we salute the thought leaders of yesterday and today, and we bow to those who have educated us, ask yourself, what is the legacy you will leave to this beautiful profession? In the words of an ancient Chinese proverb, one generation builds the street on which the next will walk. Have a safe journey home and a successful year ahead. Thank you very much for your attention.